Hello, and thank you for calling the Higher Self Hotline, your direct line to the divine. You've been led here by your inner knowing, and you've arrived right on cue. I'm your host, Zoe Greco, and together we'll make the ethereal earthly, helping you consciously embody your spiritual knowing and most authentic self. Please listen carefully to the following options. To discover how to fulfill your soul's purpose, press 1. To unlock infinite abundance in life, love, and career, press 2. To heal your mind, body, and spirit, press 3. To speak with your personal spirit guides, press 0. Please hold while we connect you to your highest timeline. Hello, divine darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoe Greco.
And I'm your co-yapper, Amelia Elsie Buxton.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you guys believe we have a new kind of intro going where I wanted Amelia to introduce herself? Amelia, welcome back to the show. Everyone is loving you and getting great feedback. I think it's not just your accent. It's everything about you that people are just so drawn to. And we're just so lucky to have you a part of the Higher Self Hotline these days.
I'm so happy to be here. It's funny that you say that because I was invited recently to a friend of a friend's wedding that's happening at the end of June. And I was like, you sure that I'm invited? Because it's an intimate wedding. I don't know these people. And she showed me the messages that she'd sent to him. And he was like, oh my God, she's British? Yeah. Of course, bring her. So I have that in my back pocket. I'll use it. I'll use that.
You guys, she is not above using her lineage. What would you even call that? Your nationality, to get her into weddings, into intimate weddings. If anyone wants to invite Amelia to your wedding, send an invite to P.O. Box. Just kidding. We don't have one, but we should get one. But you know what? You can always DM us. I'm over at the Zoe Greco, and we've got Amelia over at the Velvet page. So if anyone wants to invite Amelia to their wedding to really class up the joint and have a beautiful British woman at your wedding, send us a DM. We'd love to get Amelia traveling the world for weddings.
I'm a vibe, I promise.
She is actually. Amelia is the life of the party. Today, guys, we are going to be diving into the numerology of the collective for the month of June. Now, this is gonna be a doozy. I'm pretty excited about it, if I'm being honest, because it's a comfortable place for me numerologically, but some of you guys are gonna have a pretty tough time. So before we get into the numerology, you know what we like to do around here? We like to do just a little bit of a personal check-in. So I know I've got a bunch of shit to talk about today, but Amelia, what's been happening in your world? Anything that you feel like you can share?
Yeah, so I wasn't going to talk about this, but fuck it. I'm going to talk about it.
Fuck it! Yes! Okay, perfect.
So recently, it's really hard because you feel like you want to fill the gaps of all the information because there's people here that don't know the thing. So I'll just keep it to Cliff Notes. I am potentially entering into a friends with benefits situation with a new person in my world.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more. How did this come to be?
This came to be because I was trying so hard, guys, to be on the dating apps. I gave it a good go for about 6 weeks, and I was just like, romantically, this isn't happening. So I downloaded Field, which is a different kind of dating app. It's for, I don't want to play it. It's like hookups, but not like, it's a bit more conscious. There's a bit more of a conscious lens to it.
One might say you're playing the field.
Oh, she went there. It's so true.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
And historically, I've tried being on the app before, and I've had a couple of good experiences, but the aftermath, it's always been poor communication, and I was like, not for me. But I was like, we're just throwing shit at the wall here. I'm 30 years old. I want to flirt. I want to have fun. I want to go on dates. So downloaded this app, connected with a few guys actually, but one in particular that seems to have lasted beyond the first message, because if anyone else has had these problems with dating apps, they send a good first message because it's the easiest thing to send, and then they don't send anything else because the bar is in hell. But this one seems to have survived, and I'm in the potential preparation for that. So it's very alive for me right now. And I'm still trying to figure out if I do want to do that. If it is something that I want to enter into. So Yeah.
Interesting that came about for you during the collective month 6.
I know.
I mean, all about connections and relationship. And even if this isn't obviously like a romantic relationship, but more so of like a, as you described it, a friends with benefits sort of situation, that is still a type of relationship. It's still a type of relating to somebody. And it was initiated during a collective year 1 in a collective month 6, which I think is really, really timely. And you're in a year 3, right?
I am in a year 3, correct.
Okay. So just doing some math here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I love it when you tell
9.
So
Well, I'm just curious because, so we agreed you're in a year 3. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So interesting. Okay. So this came about for you in a personal month 8, which is all about authority and leadership and material mastery, but like also manifestation. It's a time of like reaping. And so I find it actually quite interesting that like you sort of decided to like take charge and take the reins, so to speak, during a time of like empowerment for you. Now, what I find really interesting about this is it's seeming as though it's going to commence. You're going to have to update us next month, but it's seeming as though it's going to begin at least during a personal month 9 for you.
Yeah, interesting.
Which is all about endings and conclusions. So are we going to be ending and concluding your single season, your single era? Or are we going to be ending patterns and beliefs? Are there something about this connection that's going to like break chains for you that allows you to really enter into something even more committed or profound? We're going to find out. But I find that so interesting that you're kind of going to be starting something during a time of endings. And people sometimes think that that's like a little bit contradictory. But to be honest, I feel like the best way to start something is to allow what is no longer necessary to really come to the surface. So it feels to me like some sort of beliefs or patterns are going to be left behind for you. And as of, I would say for you, like July, something new really blossoms into reality. Now, could it involve this special secret stranger? Perhaps. Or does it pave way for something else? We will see. But I could not resist diving into the numerology of that because I found it just a little too juicy.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that, you know, something, if anybody's out there trying to do the dating thing, trying to do the thing, I wanted to go into like exploring these options, trying not to go for my typical type. Because I think as well, if you're wanting a bit more of a air quote casual scenario, I'm not an expert in this, but I think for me, it needs to be with someone that isn't someone I wouldn't automatically see romantically, because then it removes the casual aspect and suddenly you're like, you know, you're planning your entire life with this person because that's the way my brain works. So, you know, this guy is great so far, but like he isn't my usual type, far from it, but not in a bad way, just in a, I think that's why I feel like, yeah, like this could be fun and different, but we'll speak in a month. Maybe I'll either be great or I'll be really bad.
Oh, I wish I could time travel so badly right now and talk to future you, but that's the beauty of the human experience, is that it unfolds moment to moment. I am curious, like, what is your usual type and how does this person differ from your usual type?
Good question. I guess physically they look like kind of calm, cool, like energy. It's hard to describe because it's just been a while since I have dated, but the guys I gravitate towards, they all seem to have similar hairstyles, similar face shape, and then their personalities are quite cheeky. And I always want to go for someone who's easygoing and who I can laugh with, regardless of the type. 'Cause, you know, even with my friends, I need to be able to laugh with them. But this guy, I would say he's a Scorpio rising. So and
I can hear the listeners everywhere going, no, don't do it. Just kidding.
Scorpio rising, Capricorn sun, Cancer moon. Interesting placement. So it's I guess what I'm trying to say is the guy I'm speaking to right now has a bit more of like a powerful energy, and I usually go for a bit more initially yin.
Like a laid back. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Interesting too that you kind of gravitated towards someone more like in their power, maybe during your own 8-month, kind of like feeling the resonance of that. But I think what you just said is actually really astute and really wise. This idea that like, if you're looking for something casual, the idea of going for someone that you might take super seriously is probably not the way to go, because your lover girl instincts just kick in and take over. And all of a sudden you find yourself living in a fantasy. So I think this is actually going to be super exciting and intriguing. I'm curious. I know you've had a friend in town. You've had a lot going on like in your personal life. Have you been getting to your writing over this last month since we caught up with you last?
Yeah, this morning actually. So the practice slowed down a little bit when my friend was here, but I've still maintained like deadlines to stick towards. But I'm finally, it was a long weekend because you guys had Memorial Day weekend and my clients are US based. So finally resetting and getting back into the flow. But yeah, we're nearly halfway through a book, baby. What the fuck?
Wow. Oh my gosh. So if we're near the halfway mark, like how many pages are you kind of at this point?
How many pages? I can look right now while I'm talking to you. I am on page in a document 68. And the word count is 33,000. And I'm aiming for 75,000 words.
Okay. Amazing. Wow. And now that you're reaching the halfway point of like your words that you allotted yourself, do you feel like you're at the midpoint of the story? Does it feel like the length and like the crescendo of the story are kind of meeting each other in that middle place?
One chapter away. I would say I'm one chapter away to the middle. And it's funny because when you look at, when you're so, one thing with book writing, I'm intrigued to hear if anyone else feels the same, is like, it's the most present practice. And for someone like me, who's always future visioning and all of that, like it's always been hard for me to be present. But when you're writing a book, you have to be, because you are writing a story as it happens. So I look at the start of my book at the moment and I'm like, oh my God, she's already come so far, my character. So it's a fun experience. I know.
Does it feel like birthing a baby, like a human? Like, do you feel like because like you're creating this character along with all the other characters in this world that they're living in, but like, this is like one specific person. Like, do you feel like an intimate connection with this character? Does it feel like an extension of you? Like, how is that feeling to create a whole person?
I'm glad you're asking all of this, Zoe, because it's giving me like a lot to reflect on. Yeah, I feel really connected to her because this whole story initially started as different stories from my own life. But then I was like, I don't want to write a story about my own life because I'm very grateful for my life, but it's not going to serve every reader to hear about my life. It's not that interesting. So many of her experiences and her challenges are taken from aspects of my life, but it's her own story. So I do feel really connected to her.
I am so thrilled for you. I feel like you really are someone that helped me get into my reading era, and like someone that first of all, I want to just say, like, I'm a genuine fan of your content. Like when it comes up on my feed, I'm so excited. I enjoy it so much. I actually saw one of your videos today and I was like, oh, Amelia would love this. And then I realized it was you. It was like where you're reading in the park and you've got like this, like you have your Kindle in front of your face. And I was like, Amelia would love this. And then I realized, nope, Amelia does love this because it's her. Yes, it is she. And it was just it's so fun to like watch you embody not just being a lover of books, but a lover of writing. Like I'm really enjoying watching your journey, not just as your friend, but as a fan of your content and a future fan of your writing. Like it's very exciting to be kind of on the inside. I've never actually been friends with someone while they were writing their book. I have friends that have made oracle decks or written like books of poetry or like I'm friends with lots of creatrixes and like lots of creative beings, but I don't think I've ever gotten to be like so adjacent to someone's book writing process. And it's actually quite thrilling. I feel like I'm on the inside of some sort of club. Like I feel like I've got some sort of inside scoop, even though I don't really know, you're keeping it all very close to the chest. I still feel like I've got like this kind of passenger seat view where I'm watching you in your journey of like authorship. And it's just really beautiful, really inspiring. And I feel so grateful to be your friend in this like very tender chapter, because I feel like this is the beginning of a whole new path for you. And so to watch the inception and be a part of the beginning of it is like really thrilling and exciting. So when we have these conversations, part of me selfishly as your friend, I just kind of want to ask you things that we can then like look back on in this little time capsule and be like, oh my God, remember when you were almost halfway through and we talked about it on that episode of the show? Like, let's go back and watch it together, you know?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That means so much. And like, I think having a community, like the small amount of people that do know about this, like the closer friends like you, and obviously our listeners, but you know what I mean?
Who are also our very close friends.
They're also our close friends. It's been so healing, because whenever I had creative projects in the past, like I shared them, but they either didn't really resonate with friends or wasn't something that I could confidently talk about. But last week, I forgot to say, I had my first branded shoot with a friend of mine. My friend's sister was in town, and the pictures are really fun. And like being around my friends and saying, this is for the Velvet Page. And they were just proper hyping me up, genuinely excited for me. And it's just like an experience that I dreamed of already. And I'm just grateful for every single one of them, truly. And I feel like
every little bit of
during my period. So now I want to cry.
Oh, dude. So Amelia and I were talking about this before we recorded. I'm 2 days away. We seem to always be recording this during like our luteal phase or like premenstrual. And like, I have been a puddle, like a puddle. I started bioidentical progesterone, treatments this past month. This was my first month doing it. And it's really interesting. I've talked about this. And now I guess we're talking about periods, but I've talked about this on the show that I have a hormonal imbalance and I suffer with PMDD. And so the progesterone is supposed to address the PMDD. And I've had this really interesting experience. I am so curious if anyone else has ever done this or had progesterone therapy, if you've had this experience as well. 'Cause some of my friends are on progesterone, but they don't seem to have had this experience. Turns out underneath all that like severe depression of PMDD, underneath that, I'm like a raging bitch. Like I'm like the PMDD, like the depression was hiding all of this like premenstrual rage. And I've been so irritable. And I went to a friend's engagement party, and before I saw her, I walked up to my other like group of friends and they were like, hey, you look so pretty. Like, and they could just tell I was like not having it, you know? They were like, you good? Can we give you a hug? And I was like, don't fucking touch me. Like, I don't even want to be here. And I hate everyone that I've ever met in my life. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like Ethan and I were at the mall looking for stuff to wear to this engagement party, which by the way, not the time to go trying clothes on.
Oh my God.
And, not even because like I felt like weird in my body, but because like I just hated everything and everyone. And I noticed that like men were taking up a lot of space on the walkway of like, you know, the corridors. And usually my instinct, right, is like to move myself. Let me get my sweet, fragile feminine frame out of your way. And this time I was like, I'm not moving. You can move or you can fucking hit me. And I actually hope you bump into me so I have a reason to turn around and bitch you out. Like, it was like I was looking for a fight. So I'm really curious if...
Tell me you're from New York without telling me you're from New York.
Honestly, people in New York have better like spatial awareness because you know what I mean? Like they're used to the crowd and whatever. And this was just, it was like man spreading with their entire body across like an entire hallway. And I was like, there's clearly a way, like there's two lanes here of travel and you're in both of them. Like get the fuck out of my way. And honestly, that might feel like I'm coming in hot for people, but like that's the energy I've got. Like that's what's going on with me. And to be honest with you, I'm actually quite enjoying it. Like it's a part of me that doesn't get a lot of space or a lot of action, doesn't get a lot of like attention, you know, and just being a little, like a little fiery, feisty, and like, I'm not actually fighting with strangers, you know, but like I'm letting myself feel my emotions and it feels really good. So I've been surprised to find that there was this absolutely like irritable troll like hiding underneath my usual like depressive episodes that I get in this like window of my cycle. So I'm giving it 90 days before I check back in with my doctor, but I've kept a journal of like my symptoms and it is absolutely hilarious. Like when I read it, even in the moment as I'm still like premenstrual, like I don't recognize the person writing that list. And it's so like funny and cringy and like, whoa, like there's some really intense feelings there. But I'm doing my due diligence and keeping track of it and then just like letting it pass. Like I'm not staying in any of it. I'm not attaching myself to any sort of like identity. I'm just like, I'm currently in the beginning stages of a treatment. Like we'll see where it takes me and where it goes. But if anyone has had this experience of like being depressive usually, and then trying progesterone and becoming like an absolute psychopathic nightmare, let a girl know, because I'd love to talk about the experience. And like I said, I'm not actually taking it out on other people, but it's been very interesting to observe myself in this process, I will say.
Yeah, a couple things that came to mind. One is that if you're watching on video, first of all, you got to watch on video. Come on, guys, we don't get.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Go over right now and watch us on video.
But I love
get off the Apple iPod, Apple Podcasts. Head over to Spotify and go to YouTube. Anyway, keep going.
But the contrast of like between mine and Zoe's, or like vibe right now. Zoe's got red, silver jewelry, black outfit. I've got cream outfit, gold jewelry, like white surroundings.
Yes.
And then the other thing that came to mind was when you were describing your journal, I just think of that song by, is it by Khalees, that I hate you so much right now?
Yes. Yeah. It literally is like, I used words like beastly to describe myself in there. I'm like, she's got symptoms, you know what I mean? She's got symptoms. So that's been very alive for me. But going back a step for a second, I want to talk about this thing you just talked about your creative process, because I'm having an interesting experience as I'm working on my music that is dissimilar to your experience, but also somewhat similar. So first of all, I love that you were held so much by your friends and like hyped up and cheered on, because it's those moments that we really get to embody the timeline jump, like the timeline hop that is occurring. And I have personally found myself that like the photo shoots and like the things that just sort of make you feel kind of official are really significant thresholds of moving you from one state into another state. And the fact that you are receiving this, like active, tangible, visible, and felt support is something that I was actually talking to my therapist about this month, about like, sometimes we need support from outside of ourselves to like fully land in our new timeline. Like it's not enough for us to believe it. Like we kind of need the external world to point back to us that like we have made a change. And I feel like what you're describing, where you're like in your first official branded shoot and you've got the girlies hyping you up, like you really arrived in that moment on, you know, from one side of that experience into the next. Like that is a form of embodiment. I'm curious if that felt like a jump for you, like in that moment, if you felt like you kind of arrived in some way.
Completely. Yeah. And like being captured by a woman and also by a friend is so special. Someone who, you know, I don't see her often. She lives in Australia and she's only here like one time a year. And we were in this park called Chapultepec Park. It's like 4 times the size of Central Park. It's really close to where I live. Wow. And it's just a beautiful environment. And just being in this place, at this place in my life, it was all symbolic for a lot of real reasons. But what I loved was when we were looking at the pictures, we're all kind of talented at different areas. And one of my friends creates music. And then Georgia, who did my photography, she's created like short films. And we just spent the evening like listening to music and watching her films. And I felt like we were in high school having a sleepover, just like, oh, I've got something we can watch next. And we were all cheering each other on, like in our 30s, just best feeling. So yeah, it's the frequency of true friendship. It makes a difference. And then, you know, to your point, really claiming that this is something I'm investing good money in and I'm taking seriously and I'm doing the damn thing because I believe in it. makes
Yes.
sense. It's a big shift.
You know, it's funny. You describe that as high schoolish. Like, you're like, I feel like we were in high school. But to me, that's not girlhood. That's womanhood. That's like 3 grown adult women who are so embodied in their artistry and their creativity. Like, the communal experience for creatives is so important because we really feed each other. And being seen by other creatives is a very like validating, comforting experience. It's something that I think also helps us like fully land and arrive in that reality of like identity. And I think that's so important. I think like really allowing yourself to experience community. It's actually one of the things that I've enjoyed the most about You Already Are. Like, I knew that it wasn't going to be enough to just do individual one-on-one coaching with these women. I wanted to get them into a space where their process was observed, witnessed, and like made more tangible and also more believable to them themselves by the presence of others. Like, being witnessed is actually so profoundly life altering. And I think we often put so much weight on like, believe in yourself. Like, you have to feed your own, confidence. And while I think that that is absolutely true to an extent, there's a point at which being witnessed becomes imperative. I think especially for artists, like, we create art for others to see it or watch it or listen to it or like explore it and to be moved by it and to be inspired by it so they can then make their own art. It's like, the witnessing is actually a very important part of the process, in my opinion.
And also being able to witness the light in someone else. I think that there's, when you compliment someone and they're like, they kind of throw it away or they throw it off, chances are they probably don't compliment others, not because there's anything wrong, but because they haven't quite trained themselves yet to believe that like light sees light. And like, when you bring somebody up, you yourself feel good. So I invite anyone listening, go and give a genuine compliment or reflection to someone you care about, or even a freaking stranger. Like, I love stopping strangers and telling them how much I love their outfit, because you just see them stand up a little bit taller when they feel that. And yeah, it will make you feel better, truly.
First of all, that's one of my favorite hobbies, is complimenting strangers. This is such an interesting thing that you're bringing up, because this has actually been a huge theme for me recently, and I've been talking about it on social. So anyone who follows me on TikTok especially is where I've been talking about it, but I am about to migrate that content over to Instagram because I'm like feeling ready to talk about it there. But during my 8-year, I'm kind of going through some stuff. As you guys know, I'm feeling shy right this moment, but recently, I kind of over the last couple months, and this is something that Amelia knows well because she's in my inner circle, I have really come to a moment of genuine honesty with myself about what I really want in my life and for myself in a way that I have not felt able to admit before. And it's something that like, I think even in this moment, it's kind of evident that I'm still struggling with my language around it, because I'm still struggling to like bring it out of my mind and body and the energy and like into the rest of the world. But I started talking about it on TikTok, which is basically, I have, and this is going to shock nobody, by the way. Like, I don't know why I'm so secretive about it, because like, look at me, like, you're not going to be surprised by this. But I recently was like, I think I want to be famous. And I don't want to be famous just for the sake of being famous. I want to be famous for the sake of having a wider impact and a wider reach. There's like a type of fame that I'm interested in and a type of fame that I'm not interested in, a category and all of that. And, there's people whose like level of fame I admire and feel very inspired by. I think like Brene Brown would be one, obviously Marianne Williamson, Jen Sincero. Like, there's people out there who I think are, mind you, by the way, I'm naming a lot of women, but people who I think are creating a really positive impact on the world through their work. And I'm feeling ready to be more visible in my work. And I've equated that to like becoming famous. And so as I came to that realization and began like putting word to it and speaking it out to the people in my work, in my, personal world, and just started giving it more weight or more density, like in reality, my life and my experience has been changing so rapidly in that direction that it actually has got me a little freaked out. So I bring this up because, first of all, it's the top of my experience right now. Like, this is like, in my personal world, this is what I'm going through. But the thing that really tipped me off is that I've always been someone that strangers approach, always, like, for a multitude of reasons. But I would say in the last several months, since I sort of came to this more embodied realization, I'm not left alone in public. Like, everywhere I go, my magnetism is like 10 out of 10. Lately, I feel like it's 20 out of 10. There is nowhere that I go that I'm not being complimented or doted on. Recently, I got recognized in public. I had, like, someone walked up to me and was like, "Hey, you just look really cool. Like, I want to invite you to this event we're throwing. Like, I just think you'd really enjoy it. And we want to have cool people there, and you just seem cool." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I am getting so much attention. And recently I was at a wallpaper store looking for wallpaper because I'm doing an office makeover. I'm like building a little special world for myself in my office. And I went to this wallpaper store, and as soon as I walked in, the woman that worked there was like, obsessed with me, couldn't get enough. This other lady who was far less enthusiastic, even she was like, "Your style is incredible. Like, I wouldn't personally wear that, but you look amazing." And I said, "Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that." And she was like, "It's really cool that you can accept a compliment. Like, it's really cool that you just take it in versus like deflecting it." And then we had this whole conversation. And then the first lady was like, "What do you do? I have to know about you." And then she was like, "I'm going to watch your show. So, hey, by the way, Kristen from the wallpaper store, if you're listening to this, hey, you had a big impact on me. So thank you so much for that." It was just all these micro moments where like I'm being treated like someone of notability, someone, like someone known. I'm being treated like I'm famous. I was at that engagement party and a bunch of girls walked up to me that I had no clue. And they were like, "Are you the girl that threw that amazing party where you jumped out of a cake?" And I was like, "Yeah, oh my God, like that was me." Like, I'm just getting all this recognition. And as it came in last week, I sat down with Ethan for dinner and I was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you about this like thing I'm going through where all of a sudden everyone talks to me and everyone's complimenting me and everyone's treating me special." And I think this was the universe handing me like a little taste of fame and being like, "Do you like it?
Like it.
Yeah. Do you want it?" And to be completely honest with you, I am not sure. I am not sure. Now that I've started to, have like even just a microcosmic taste. And to be honest, the type of fame that I would be interested in, I feel so cringe having this conversation, but this is important. This is vulnerability, people. I'm just going to fucking tell you. Like, the type of fame that I'm interested in isn't the like Chapel Roan type of fame where like she's, on the red carpets yelling at pops, even though I'm not saying she shouldn't. I'm not condemning or condoning. I'm just saying I'm not like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of the quiet side of fame where like I'm just helping people. I'm like changing the world and we're just having fun together. And not everyone knows who I am, but like maybe a couple million people know who I am. That's enough for me. I'm totally happy with that. I don't need millions, billions, whatever. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. But I'm looking for a quiet kind of fame, but I'm still getting so much interaction and attention as it is that I'm like, I don't know if I'm built for more than this. And I wanted to kind of talk about it here in this space because I think it's important because it is exactly what happens in a year 8. It's very, very in alignment with my personal numerology. And also, I think being in this seat, in your seat, like we are people who are doing things, right? Like you're writing a fucking book. Do you know how many people like think about writing a book and don't write a book? Like so many. Do you know how many people think about starting a podcast and don't? Do you know how many people like want to be known or want to be loved or want to be whatever and just never go after it because they have a million reasons that their ego is convincing them not to do it? So many people. And so I think it's important to talk about what that experience is like from the driver's seat to show people like, A, it's not a smooth line all the way just straight to fame. And also, if that's where I'm going, and also like the road there is very nuanced, and meeting yourself in your own emotions and your experiences as you move through it is really important. And so I'm at this particular point where I'm like, oh fuck, I think this actually could happen. I've shifted. I've timeline hopped in the fact that I believe it could happen now. Before I did not believe it could happen, which is why I never even let myself dare to want it. So I let myself dare to want it. Then I adopted the belief. And now that I'm in the belief, I'm in the embodiment. It's starting to happen to me. And I'm like, ooh, do I want this? And I think that that's an important part of the journey. And I'm really excited to see what comes up a month from now. Like if I have any different feelings or thoughts about it. Right now, I feel like my capacity is being stretched. And I'm not 100% sure if that's what I want, which I think is important. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts for me or any reflections around that.
Yeah, I think the first thing around, the word fame, I know that if there will probably be listeners who, when someone says, I want to be famous, naturally they're like, oh, okay, do you?
Cringe.
But not really, because if you would have framed that entire moment you just had and said, I want larger visibility, which so many people say, I want really large visibility. I want a lot of large visibility for my book. What is the fucking difference between that and fame? It's because we equate fame to celebrity, to disillusioned and like becoming far removed from like the people here and suddenly you're up here. But the actual frequency of the word fame is just large visibility. And so
period.
I think that's the first thing. Second thing is, I think this is what you want. I think it's just, you're just timeline jumping a little bit, like pretty quick here. And I think it feels weird because it's almost like, even though you have been somewhat, your energy has been prepared for this type of visibility for a while, it's been a while that you've been preparing. And now that the fruits of your labor are coming through because you are focusing on it, there's no longer all this extra noise that we know of. It feels sticky because it's like, okay, is it that easy? It's like, is that easy? Almost. So I think that my gut feeling as your friend is that that this is in your path. You do want this, but it is requiring some reflection on, okay, I want this. Who do I need to be to show up where these certain moments aren't like impacting me? So, yeah.
Oh, that is so tasty, delicious. And honestly, you named something that I have like really been thinking about and talking about a lot, which is like, and then I promise we're going to get to the collective numerology, guys. But this feels super important, actually. Like for a very long time, from a very early place in my life, people just like saw me, thought I was cool, like treated me differently. And that didn't put any pressure on my shoulders at all. Like I never felt like I had to live up to like whatever, because people were already treating me like I was great or whatever. So I didn't feel like I had this pressure. But I gained all this like self-confidence from just everyone around me just thinking nice things about me. Now, I simultaneously was also receiving a lot of criticism and critique and feedback, which fed my ego. So my self-belief and my self-confidence got like covered by the sounds of the outside world, the critiques of the outside world that fed my ego. My ego ended up being the louder part of me, which is the part that like prevented me from admitting this desire for myself or like pursuing this path for myself. And because of that, I always felt like I was hitting a glass ceiling. Like it always felt like there's this glass ceiling that I can see I can see part of what I want on the other side of it, but I cannot break through for the life of me. I keep bumping up against it and bumping up against it and bumping up against it. Like last year, I talked about this experience I had where someone that I've looked up to my entire life gave me this moment that I've waited for my entire life, where they were like, hey, I want to help you. I want to like introduce you to the right people. I want to whatever. And then it never like followed through. And so there's been like these moments, these breadcrumbs where like, I thought I was going to break through that glass ceiling and I just never could. And then recently, all of a sudden, I felt myself just one day I woke up and I felt like I was on the other side of it. Instead of hitting my head on it, I was standing on it. And I was like, holy shit. What just, I was freaking, I was like, who let me in? Like, I don't belong in this club. Like, I'm not allowed in this club. This is not where I belong. I'm a downstairs person, not an upstairs person. Like, who let me in? And I started looking around me to the people in my circle and the people in my life and being like, whoa, I suddenly think I can do something. Like, do you guys think I can do it? And I felt like, this is not what was happening, but I felt like people were saying, I don't think you can do it. Or like, you could, but it's going to be really hard. Or like, I didn't feel like I was getting encouragement. I felt like I was getting discouragement. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I fell back through the glass and I went back to the other side. And that experience felt like really destabilizing for me and really confusing for me, because I felt like I was supposed to source all my confidence and all my self-belief in myself. And I wasn't supposed to get it from outside of me. I thought like that was the lesson, was like, it was wrong of you to look around and like try to get people to believe in you so that you could like maintain this new level of like delusion, basically, that you require to like stay in the realm of possibility. And I actually ended up finding out that that's not the lesson. The lesson is not you have to source it all yourself. The lesson is, if you want to be a leader, if you want to have visibility, if you want to be a person of consequence in this world, whatever that means, that you have to get really used to people not believing in you and not thinking you can do it, and not like, you have to get used to that. And you additionally do need to surround yourself with people who feed your delusion and keep you like nourished and fed. And so I've really been like kind of swimming through these themes of like, whoa, do I want it now that it's like starting to come into my field, even on this, like these micro scales? Like, whoa, what do you need to be able to like sustain and maintain this level of like self-belief and like delusion and optimism and hopefulness and direction? Like, what is required to sustain it? And that timeline jump, like hopping in, hopping back out, and then hopping back in, really fucked me. I was like, I felt wobbly and confused and like, oh, I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know what this is. I felt insecure. I was having like really, really random insecurities about my marriage, like insecurities about like my entire life that I've never questioned before. And I kept being like, what the fuck is this? And when I finally figured out that it was like a very wobbly timeline hop, I was like, oh, I get it. And now I'm just having a lot of fun. Now that I know what was going on, now that I can recognize what it is, I'm having a fucking blast. Even this conversation where I'm like, guys, I don't know if I want it. This is so fun. I'm having such a good time. So I'm really, really enjoying this very conscious timeline hop now. And now that I'm aware of like where I'm at and what just happened to me, this level of consciousness makes it really easy to engage with and makes it a lot more fun.
Definitely. It does make it more fun, and it gets to be fun. I think like that's one of my main things this year with Bookstagram, and like when shit goes viral, naturally you're like, I want everything to go viral. And I'm thinking of the book, and like I'm building a brand and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? My priority is finish writing this fucking book. The rest of it should just be play, because if I take it all too seriously, then suddenly I'm just messing with the juju. If anything, like it's fun to play, and of course it's great for content to perform while I love it. But I think every time I get myself into the mindset of like comparison, or oh, stuff hasn't gone viral in a few weeks, so what's going to happen? I'm like, no, remember you're playing. Remember you're having fun. Just keep doing it, please.
That is so important. The idea of remembering that it is fun, and also like remembering your why, right? Like, why do I want visibility? I want visibility because I want other people to know that it's completely fine for you to build yourself a stage, put a microphone in front of your mouth, wear pajamas and a crown, and talk. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to know that it's completely, completely fine for you to just fucking want what you want and to go after it. Like, this life, we talked about it last time. Life is your creation. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Like, we are here to create our lives. And I just want people to know they have permission to create whatever life they want. And I think the most effective way to do that is to do it myself in front of them. You know, it's like, hey, I'm going to do it. I don't feel stupid at all. Like, yeah, well, am I cringing at myself a little bit? Like, I'll survive. Like, I don't even want to spend my energy cringing at myself. It's just such a misuse of my energy. Like, I just want to fucking go after what I want and not give a fuck what anybody thinks. And I want other people to know that feeling because it feels good. It feels good to not give a fuck and just go after what you want. And so like connecting to your why, I think is also the thing that keeps the momentum. Like play and your why are the two things that like keep you moving. Because if it's not fun, you're going to stop. And if you can't remember why it's important, you're going to stop. So make sure that you can enjoy it, even if that's just enjoying the parts that are uncomfortable. Like seeing it all as part of the process is so incredibly important.
Boom. What does the numerology look like for this month then, baby? With that.
Wow. Well, honestly, dude, it is extremely, extremely connected and extremely timely because we are in that collective year one, you guys. We've made it to the halfway point. Congratulations. We're halfway through 2026, which actually feels fucking insane. We're at the halfway point of this year of initiation. And it's really interesting that in a year of initiation, going into a collective month in the midpoint of the year, we're hitting a 7. And 7, I was saying before, is a place that I'm quite comfortable as an attitude 7, but it's not a place that everybody likes to be. Why would people not like a 7? Let's think about that part first, get that out of the way. It's like when you ask someone, you want the good news or the bad news? I always say, give me the bad news first because I want to end on a high note. So here's the bad news. Depending on how you feel about this, 7 is a very insular number. It is known to isolate. It's kind of the hermit of numerology. Imagine an old man in a long robe inside a library that goes on and on and on forever, that no one is near. It's on an island inside of a lighthouse and there's no one around for hundreds of miles. That's a 7.
This is my dream, by the way. I am the old man.
You're like, did you say robes, books, and no one for miles? Sounds perfect. Like literally, that is the energy of the 7. It's the person who loves to study. It's the thinker, but it's also the mystic. It's known as like the skeptical seeker or like the mystic, but there's always this like, I don't know what you would call it, like hesitance or skepticism that like really the 7 holds. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it, but I really want to believe it. So I'd really like to see it. They want to believe. And for the most part they do, but they often need like some form of evidence. And 7 by nature is extraordinarily introspective. So basically this entire process that I'm talking about where I'm like, I'm really observing myself timeline hop into my desires. Like that's very fucking 7 of me, honestly. And then it's very 3 of me to talk about it. And it's very 9 of me to want it to be the thing that serves humanity, right? So like, there you go. Bing, bang, boom. That's me in a nutshell, baby. So when we're thinking about the collective in this time of introspection, for some people, it's going to feel great. And for other people, they're going to be like, what is happening to me? Why is every thought that I have somehow dissecting my inner self? Because this is the point in the journey from 1 to 9, where we stop and take a pause and we start to think to ourselves, what am I really doing? Is this really the direction I want to be moving in? If it is, how do I sustain it? If it's not, how do I redirect it? And is there anything that I picked up along the way that I can put down that I don't need to carry with me on the rest of this journey? And is there anything that I have picked up along the way that's really serving me? Anything I brought with me from the beginning that's really serving me? And how do I lean into the tools at my disposal to get where I want to go? It is truly like if you imagine someone starting to climb a mountain, 1 is the very beginning. And by 7, your boots are broken in. You've gotten a quite amount of camp. So like overnight campings out of yourself. You've picked up trash from other hikers along the way. You've done a lot of of things. You've broken through the blisters, but you take your pack off and you really take everything out of it and really decide, like you take an inventory and you really assess, like, is this ultimately what I truly want and what I truly desire? And in order to do that, in order to like get into an echo chamber of self, you do end up being a bit of a hermit and like being a bit perhaps too much in solitude. So it's going to be a time where I think we won't feel very communal. We might feel very like individualistic, which is a little slippery slope in a year one, which is already very much of like, I'm number one. One is the loneliest number, me. Like it's about like, you know what? It's like one is very self-focused. And then we're about to go into self-focus that is also quite scrutinizing. So it's not meant to be critical necessarily. It's just highly inquisitive, which can feel critical. So it's already a time where we're kind of like up our own asses, and then we get up our own asses and really like stir something around. And it just can feel a little intense. And we may not feel, like I was saying, a lot of togetherness during this time as a global community. Don't worry, we will recover, but probably not till a little bit later in the year.
I love it. So it's kind of like a gird your loins type month that we have coming up. Yeah. And I was thinking how it relates to me, and in two different aspects, like through work, I have just taken on like a more strategic role, which requires more data-driven decisions for a client. Something that's not, I just haven't flexed that muscle in a while. And so it's interesting what you say about the seeker and someone who's like gathering information and seeing what works, because that's basically a lot of what we're doing, a lot of experimentation, but a lot of like data-driven decisions need to be made in order to support my client. And then on the flip side, obviously I was thinking about this potential dating relationship that I'm entering into. And I just have this feeling, like I said, we'll see in a few days, in a week, in a month. But I just have this feeling that whatever this is, when we were talking about endings and beginnings, because I'm in a personal year 9, and then when you mentioned 7, I think it's going to be an ongoing process of like me constantly asking, like checking in with myself or checking in with him or checking in with friends, just to really clarify that things are in alignment. I think this is going to be one of those moments where a pattern is going to be broken away because of what this may turn into. So it all tracks, but it all feels difficult. But I'm glad that I'm ending the month going to a wedding and also seeing you, because I think
I know I'm so excited about
whatever
that.
it is, we're going to celebrate.
You know, I think that's such an astute point. And with the 7, one of the really slippery slopes is overthinking, overanalyzing. 7s are actually like quite prone to analysis paralysis.
Oh shit.
And can get themselves into like a bit of a circle, because it's like you can name a problem and name a solution, but that solution is also going to have something that has to be like answered or like amended or whatever. And it's like you find yourself kind of like in a little bit of a loop. And so the thing that's going to be really important actually this month is going to be leaning on the 1 in some ways while avoiding the 1 in other ways, because 1 is quite decisive. 1 is like decisive in a way that's like quite naive because it doesn't have any information to go off of. But it's very instinctual. Like it feels quite like almost like animalistic in like the fact that it's just so instinctual. So it's going to be important in your like consideration to also try and lean into the decisiveness and the instinctiveness of the 1, like not letting yourself get so caught in overthinking that you never end up doing anything with the insights that are coming to you. So for instance, for me, like the thing that I decided to do with the feelings that I had was share them on social media. Like if I want visibility, I'm just going to put myself out there more. And I have started, like, all those videos actually gained me more followers than any of my usual content that I made over on TikTok. So it's like that, my decision, like I was feeling big feelings and I was like, I need to talk to someone about it. May as well be everybody. And so I like put it out there, and it was that decisiveness that moved me because now it's like every day I'm playing this game where I post something where I'm like, here's how like my world affirmed for me that I'm famous today, like blah, blah, blah. And it's what like sustains the jump. So for people that want to sustain the jump, you can't just think about it. You have to be about it. And this month is really going to make you feel like you need to think about it. And what I'm saying is this whole year is telling you that you need to be about it. So let yourself think deeply, let yourself consider deeply, but then crawl out of that hole and make a decision, because that's what's going to actually change your reality. And that's the medicine of the two numbers meeting.
And you know what this all signs point towards? Strengthening your intuition, because everything you're saying, it becomes a lot more straightforward and a lot less intimidating when you have certain tools in place to check in with your intuition and be like, well, my gut is telling me that this is right. Because I think that is where there is such a struggle of being in the spiral and I'm saying this for myself as well. I get trapped into it a lot as well. It all comes back to, okay, you need to strengthen your intuition a bit more then. You need to work on that. So you're in the right place.
And you know, what I will say, that is, first of all, Amelia, so astute, because 7 is, as I said, the mystic. 7 is actually one of the most intuitive numbers in numerology. 2 and 7 are like known to be the most intuitively gifted, aside from the master numbers. And 7 is called the mystic. I mean, it goes by many names, right? Spiritual skeptic, spiritual seeker, mystic. There's probably a million. Some might even call it the librarian. Like there's a lot of ways you could define a 7, but it is called the mystic for a reason. And your intuition sounds suspiciously like your ego sometimes, and vice versa. So the ego is the part that says, but what about? But what about? But what about? And that's what keeps you on the loop. But what? But what if? And what I want you to know is that your intuition will never say but.
Turn it into a reel. This is major.
Someone clip this. Clip it right now. That's the thing, is like your intuition is never going to make you second guess. That's not what it does. Your intuition allows you to be very decisive. It supports you in being decisive. So I think it's extremely, extremely important to create a distinction between the sound of overthinking and the sound of intuition, because overthinking keeps you in a loop. Intuition tells you what the fuck is up, and that is what the fuck is up. It does not say this, but. It says this. Mm-hmm. Intuition says this, and then your ego comes in and says, but. The first thing you heard was true. The first thing you heard was true. Mm-hmm. Any thought you have about whether it can or can't be, that's not real. And also, it's kind of a waste of your time.
And if you are someone that's like, oh, but how do I strengthen my intuition? Go to the show notes and take the quiz, where you will find out what your strongest intuitive type is, and you'll receive a full report on it too. And it's good, good as fuck.
Thanks, Amelia. I appreciate the plug. Yeah, go to zoegracco.com and take the intuitive types quiz. And for real, like the best way. So my YAA students are currently moving through the last ever round of IAM, the Intuition Activation Mentorship, that I will be teaching live. And it is so cool to watch them in real time, you know, almost midway through their YAA journey, really use the self-confidence that they've developed to allow themselves to have a totally new relationship to their intuition. Like, it is such a night and day difference, but they're actively learning, like, oh, I really feel it in my body, or, oh, I really hear it. I really like, and knowing how your intuition speaks to you helps you listen to it better. Like, if I know that my intuition speaks, I'm just going to use languages, right? Like, if I know my intuition speaks French, but someone's talking to me in Chinese, I'm going to know, like, oh, that's Chinese. This is French. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be listening to. And that knowledge is so incredibly empowering. And this really is the time to be tapping in with yourself in this collective era of intuition. It's like there's a full moon all month kind of thing. It's like that type of magical energy where you're like, anything feels possible tonight. Like, that's literally what the whole month is about. And it's like, Are you going to go out there and be about it? Or are you going to stay inside and study your books and overthink and overthink and overthink? Like, you have to decide who you want to be. Do you want to be the mystic, or do you want to be the skeptical seeker? Right? Because like one of those is empowered, one of those is like a light aspect, and one of those is a little dense. Like skepticism is a little heavy, seeking is a little heavy, but mystics are just magically in the flow. And there's a difference.
I have a random question for you just because it came to mind. It's about a spiritual tool. So what is your thoughts on pendulums and how they operate? Because I have one here and I haven't picked it up in ages, and I'm like, shit, I think I want to pick up my pendulum, but I want to ask what Zoe's thoughts are.
Okay, first of all, I am obsessed with this question. And also it's so weird that you're asking me this, because this month I obviously last month, I taught my students their pendulum lesson in the intuition activation mentorship. We have a whole live 2-hour workshop about how to use your pendulums. And then we had John Prince, who, if you guys have not heard his episode on the show, the perception coach, John Prince, former professional poker player turned perception coach. Please go listen. At ZGHQ, we literally say that is one of our favorite episodes. The team collectively loves that episode. John came into the container to be our guest coach this month and coached the women live. And he asked us to use our pendulums and talked about how pendulums work. And so I've been talking about pendulums so much lately, but not with you at all. So it's just so funny that you brought it up. But yeah, I have a lot to say on pendulums. First, I would say they definitely work. And also they are a really useful, cool tool for building a dialogue 2 ways with spirit, so you can actually ask a question and receive an answer. It's a very magical feeling modality. It also, depending if you use a pendulum board, you can actually get even more broad answers than just yes or no, which is really cool as well. If you wanted to ask your guides what their names are, they could spell it out for you. Sounds a little bit like a Ouija board. It's a little different. But that's a really cool thing. But no matter what, you need to approach your tool with neutrality, because you can absolutely mind control a pendulum to work 1000%. You can. So it's really important that you go to your pendulum without an attachment to what the answer is. You should go to your pendulum seeking truth, which is neutral. Truth says this is. It doesn't say this is right and this is wrong. It just says this is. And so I would recommend when you use your pendulum to do some sort of invocation where you're calling forward your angels, guardians, guides, your support system, your spiritual support system, anyone that wants to support you with messages of truth for your highest good. That would be important. But I always tell this story about how I had a friend who dated this fuck ass pathological liar. And I was like, this man's a pathological liar, babe. Literally the first words he said, I was like, you're a liar. Everything he said after that, absolutely fucking insane, but she refused to see it. And that girl used to we're not friends anymore, by the way. That girl used to shake me up like a magic 8-ball and just be like, is he going to ask me to marry him? Am I going to marry him? And I was like, why would you even want to, you silly girl? And she would go to her pendulum and she would go to her oracle cards and she would force her answers. She would pick cards until she got the answer she wanted, even if she'd picked 42 out of 48. It was she was just looking for the answer she wanted. And I always tell people your tools, if you're looking for the answer you want, you're going to find it. But if you're looking for the answer that you need, the answer that's true, you can find that if you are willing to approach your tools or your practitioners or your modalities or your options with neutrality. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be hopeful or want a specific outcome. You just can't force it to be your answer. You have to be really willing to receive the answer, whatever it is. And then you have your human free will to do with that what you want. But a pendulum is a tool that absolutely will work, and it will work for you, or it can work against you because you're using it the wrong way.
Use your tools responsibly is what I'm hearing.
And respectfully. Respect your tool. I didn't like the way that girl would shake me up like a magic 8-ball until she got the answer she wanted, nothing feels good when you do that, including a rock on the end of a chain, right? Like your pendulum. So anything is everything. We're all one. So respect your tools, respect the energy that comes through your tools, and, use them responsibly and with neutrality, because that's how you get the answers that you deserve.
And I guess also it's not relying too much on the tools, the most sacred truth is inside of you, ultimately. And I think I'm saying this because I know that sometimes if I've gone to a pendulum in the past, it's because, I want a certain outcome, or because I'm giving my sovereignty away to a tool to decide for me or something. And we do that with oracle cards sometimes as well. So loving reminder of that. The truest true is within you.
Ooh. Put it on a t-shirt. The truest true is within you.
It rhymes.
We should, I feel like that belongs in I feel like that's a song you would hear in the movie, Life Size, where Tyra Banks is a giant doll, a doll come to life. It's the true is true. It lives in you. You know what I mean? I hear it in my body and I feel it in my soul. And you're absolutely right. The truest true is in you. And that's the thing, right, about the 7 is it pushes you back into yourself, into introspection for the answers that you're looking for. You are the mystic. You are the deliverer of answers. You are the channel for clarity. You are the mystic. And this is a good time to be a little bit in the individual. It's just not a good time to burn any bridges because you don't have any answers. So in your efforts to get some alone time, make sure you're not pushing anybody away too much, because that's the danger of the 1 is it can get a little too hyper independent. We're still sharing this earth, people. We still got to hang out together. Okay. Let's keep it civil. Let's keep it friendly. And, let's just be honest with people around us. Hey, I'm just in a process. I'm kind of in a thing. I'm not feeling up to the party. I'm so sorry. I'll definitely catch you next time, or I'd love to take you out for dinner so we can catch up, but I'm just not in a space to be super social right now. Just tell people how it is. Be honest. And the more honest you are with others, the more mental clarity and space you have to really just be with your own truth as well.
I thought that when you were talking about the videos you were putting on TikTok, what's something that came through was the audacity to be honest and what happens as a result of that. So be audacious. Be audacious with your honesty this month.
Ooh. Yes. I want to see if there's anything I'm forgetting about 7.
7. Did you ever... Oh, I don't know if he was on Dancing with the Stars. We have a judge on the UK version of Dancing with the Stars called Strictly Come Dancing. And whenever he would hold up his number 7 to score the dancers, he'd go 7. So now whenever 7, that's how I say it.
Okay. I don't know that person, but I really love that. That's literally our friendship just came out. That is how we make references to each other. And we're both so auditorily triggered. We are chronically connected. I think we were chronically online before you could be chronically online. We were just chronically plugged in, And so we both have these off the wall references that I really cherish. And I love that we can share them with each other. I honestly think that was it for the 7. Honestly, the thing I would just love to say too is it's not just about the collective, right? Your own personal numerology will also impact and affect the way that you're able to weather the waters of the collective. So, you can always go over, subscribe to the newsletter or check it out on Instagram where I do the, horoscopes, the monthly numerological horoscopes based on your attitude number. So I can tell you exactly what personal month you're in. And the horoscopes use your personal year, your personal month, your attitude number, and the collective month and year to build a really full picture for you of kind of what you can expect to experience. And it's fucking accurate. One of my students sent me a screenshot and she was like, I swear to God, you wrote this about me. And I was like, honey, I believe it or not, you're just a number, right? You're just doing your number thing. But it was so true. It really did feel like it was kind of pointed. So go check out your horoscopes. The other thing, of course, we're still running that sale on the reports, you guys. You liked them so much that we were like, you know what? Pod community, if you want to know about your numerology, plug in, just go get your report. Go to zoegreco.com. There's a button right there for you. Click in. Order your report, check it out, and you can even get a day-by-day breakdown of kind of how to move through the numerology of your personal year. So it is important to consider the nuances of those things because It's not one dimensional. Reality is not one dimensional, people. It's very, very multidimensional. And therefore you have to explore the present through a multitude of perspectives. It's not flat. Okay. So keep your eyes moving, which is going to be very enticing and almost addicting in this collective month 7, where we're just like so excited to be inquisitive. But remember, bring your head up from the sand. Be decisive, make your decision, don't burn any bridges, and give yourself the time to recharge that you need. Do your journaling, and then give yourself a break, okay? Don't spend too much time alone. Otherwise, you're going to get a little weird by the end of the month, okay? Anything else from you, Amelia?
No, just keep playing and having fun if you can with the doozy of the month we have ahead.
Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to tuning in with all of you guys next month, where we get to hear all about what's been going on with Amelia's, shall we say, situationship. We don't know what it's about to be, but we are excited to get the deets and excited to see how the numerology of June played out for us by the end. So I would love if we could conclude by sending a little love, sweetness, and positivity to this week's subject, you, the listeners, as you continue on your journey of self-knowledge and self-discovery and of decisive, confident actions toward your deepest wants and desires. You deserve everything that you want in this life. You deserve it. And we're here to remind you, just in case you forget. You can connect with me on all socials at the Zoe Greco, and you can find our sweet girl Amelia at the Velvet Page. And of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important, you matter, and you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you. Your spirit guides love you. Amelia loves you, and the universe loves you. So until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, friends.